Okay. The time is 7 o'clock. The date is Wednesday, January 24th, and we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So before we get started, we're going to have the St. Helens Police Association come up here and have a presentation to council. So you guys can go ahead and come forward. And I also want to just say for the room that if you stick around after public comment to see what we're going to talk about, we are going to discuss the extension for the contract, which I can see a lot of you are probably here to hear about that. So if we're going to stick around and hear what we're going to do, please do.
All right, my name is Dylan Gaston, president of the St. Helens Police Association. The reason we're here is to talk about staffing. I tried to write a speech 10 different times for a night, and every time I realized all stuff I've already said over the last couple of years. If people don't understand by now that public safety needs to be important, I don't know how to better explain it to them. So the bottom line is St. Helens is on the verge of becoming a town whose identity is, this is a place that's unsafe, but we have lots of events, and that's the direction we're headed. We're hoping we can change that. We're a little behind the curve, but that's why we're here tonight. Officer Cutright is our vice president, and he has a statement prepared.
So like Dylan said, my name is Brian Cutright. I'm the vice president of the Police Association. I've been here to speak many times before. So we're here again talking about the same issues. On 1/15/2024, the St. Helens Police Association posted a vote of no confidence for Mayor Rick Scholl and City Administrator John Walsh. We outlined several reasons for the vote and stand by our vote. Mayor Scholl and John Walsh have given false promises and better police staffing. The city obtained a loan to build a new public safety facility for which we were promised. At the special council session on 1/10/2024, we were told by Mayor Scholl and John Walsh that the city was exploring the option of reallocating the money from the police department building to continue the development of the waterfront project. We adamantly stated that we wanted the loan money to stay in place and we wanted the building to be constructed, even if it meant changing location. As part of the prepared statement, I had a segment written in regards to Mayor Scholl. However, due to him not being here, I will not be reading that. I was raised and firmly believe that if you can't say something to their face, you shouldn't say it behind their back, a concept that seems lost to some of you here in this room today. Our vote of no confidence was done in part due to a gross mismanagement of city funds and lack of transparency to improve the financings regarding Halloween Town. I want to make this point very clear. We are not in any way making a personal attack on any specific person related to Halloween Town, which is directly related to the contractual agreement between the city and E2C. We are asking for full transparency from the city regarding this contract. We are asking for the financial details regarding this contract and tourism events. We want to know what, if anything, the city has done with the money generated from these events. We want to know what percentage of the proceeds have been returned to the city. All we have been asking for is transparency related to this contract. We believe that tourism should be a city program, and it should be a program to benefit the city. Based on our investigation, we questioned the public statement of Mr. Walsh. The audits purportedly done have included small periods of time, and at least one was done by a former city employee. No forensic audits of E2C's books have been done. A right we believe is guaranteed by the city's contract, and a right the city and the mayor have refused to insist upon. Why? Finally, the vote of no confidence letter outlines unprofessional meetings held by Mayor Scholl and John Walsh following the special council session where association members spoke out. Several members of the association were approached by people in attendance of those meetings. Several city employees advised association members that Mayor and Mr. Walsh made derogatory and retaliatory statements in those meetings. We find those meetings having exclusively and intentionally left out police department staff were unprofessional and unbecoming of city leaders. Over the last week, a lot has been made public. I have read Mr. Walsh's statements regarding the vote of no confidence. I'd like to address several issues with Mr. Walsh's statements. Mr. Walsh stated that the city has added police officer positions, new detective position, and a supervisor position. We've stated this numerous times. We have no additional police positions since we added 3 and had 3 leave. We were forced to move the detective back to the road to keep 24-hour coverage going. And adding a supervisor position does absolutely nothing to benefit the staffing crisis or the citizens of St. Helens. Matt Brown, the ex-finance director, was a spearhead for the salary adjustment, which we received at the St. Helens Police Department. This was done in part because Matt Brown attended the meeting with St. Helens PD staff. This was done in part because a study was done and found that the city lost $4.2 million over the course of the last 9 years with officers leaving after being trained. And Mr. Brown asked questions that day as to why officers continued to leave the department. We gave honest answers, and Mr. Brown gave good solutions to our problems. This adjustment only stopped more officers from leaving to bigger agencies. It brought St. Helens PD to the 21st century, as we'd previously been stuck 15 years behind the rest of the country, and most importantly, other metro area police departments. We did get new vehicles, Mr. Walsh. I'd like to make it clear, the reason behind the new vehicles was our old vehicles had nearly 200,000 miles and barely functioned. Having vehicles is a necessity of law enforcement and should not be counted as an added benefit. Our chief spoke in great length at the special council meeting how our current program saves the city money. Walsh stated that the city built new police administrative offices in the recreation center, so there was a dedicated building with access to proper amenities. This statement is only true because our current station isn't fit for our needs. The solution was to acquire a trailer and place it next to the police department. This solution meant that they had no bathrooms, wash stations, or basic needs in the trailer. This change now creates 3 separate locations where police staff are located within the city. The city built an quote unquote in-office canine kennel room for our police canine. This statement is blatantly false. There is no new kennel built at the St. Helens Police Department. There is an outdoor kennel which is insufficient to hold the police dog. I am speaking from experience in this matter as I am the current canine handler for the St. Helens Police Department. If Walsh is intending to speak about the kennel that was constructed in my garage, this is a necessity to house the police dogs as they need a kennel which can hold them in. Again, a necessity, not a benefit. The next point is the city, quote unquote, purchased new body worn cameras for our officers. Well, according to ORS 133741, officers shall continuously record and retain body worn camera footage. The fact that Mr. Walsh claims this to be a benefit of the St. Helens Police Department is baffling. We are simply abiding by Oregon law. The city, quote unquote, purchased new report writing software for our officers. Again, a necessity for the department. We have to be able to write, print, and provide reports to proper attorneys and judges. Walsh claimed that the city has increased the police budget by several million. This has been stated numerous times before. The city has increased the police budget. The city has also increased the budget of every other department. They're just not willing to say by how much since it doesn't fit their narrative. The fact is the increase was in large part due to the salary increase, not to the increase in staffing. I've done the research, which I have provided to the council, a little spreadsheet, and I'm providing a copy of these numbers. For the record, the city has increased the administration budget by 147%, the planning budget by 138%, the finance budget by 133%, public works by 122%, and the library budget was increased by 113%. Stop using the increase in budget as an excuse to improperly fund and staff the police department. Walsh stated that the city has completed the design for a new police station. Yes, this is true, but we have yet to break ground on a new building, and we have yet to have space for all of our staff to work in one building. This is a moot point. Lastly, in Mr. Walsh's points, he stated that the city has secured federal grant funding to assist in police investigations. We have yet to be able to utilize this as we don't have staffing to get our officers qualified or adequate training to use this grant. Mr. Walsh ended his statements with something I frankly find funny. He stated, "We are living in tumultuous times, and unfortunately, the police have opted towards smear tactics rather than working together through these complex and challenging issues." Mr. Walsh, I'd like to remind you that in 2021, members of the Police Association prepared statements to make at council meeting. We were asked to back down and allow the city to find a solution to our problem. We did, and we waited. Nothing happened. In 2022, we reached out to you, Mr. Walsh, and tried to begin negotiations regarding COLA. We received no response several times. In 2022, we had our attorney come to a council meeting to again show the city we need to hire more officers now and prepare for retirements looming. In June of 2022, the COLA agreement expired. We again reached out to you to begin negotiations. You ignored us. At the end of 2022, we met with our attorney present and made an agreement for a 2-year COLA agreement. Because you chose to put us off and ignore us, the city was forced to pay a significant amount of back pay as we didn't receive the checks until February or March of 2023. Mr. Walsh, we have reached out to you numerous times regarding the call-out pay, as the city will soon be forced to go to a 20-hour schedule and not have coverage for 4 hours in a day. You have ignored us. So sit there and lie in your statements and to the Chronicle and the Spotlight is just appalling. Recently, Mr. Brown made a public statement on a public forum. The statement made by Mr. Brown should be concerning to not only citizens of the city, but to you as council. Mr. Brown, as many of you know, is the city finance director for the city of St. Helens. Matt has a wealth of knowledge of how the city works and how it has worked. I printed and I am providing each of you a copy of his statements. I'm also going to be reading parts of his statement for public record today. In regards to the hotel taxes, Mr. Brown stated, after 2003, if your city started having transient taxes or you increased your fee after 2003, the portion of money collected from that new fee or the increased amount had to be spent as a 70-30 distribution. This means that no, not 100% of the money from transient taxes must be spent on tourism. This is something that, as I mentioned above, John said in a haste, then it went from one person to another, and now it is quoted as Bible verse in St. Helens for continued spending. In fact, only 70% of the transient taxes must be used for tourism promotion, tourism-related facilities, or to finance or refinance debt for tourism-related facilities. The local government is at liberty to allocate up to 30% for general city or county services. Regarding revenue made from tourist events, Mr. Brown goes on to say, funds that are brought in by the city event are city funds. Even though the city pays a contractor to put on these events, they are still city events, which means all revenue from these events should be accounted for in city financials and not held in a separate account that the city does not have access or accountability to. No, these funds do not have to be spent 100% or even 1% on tourism activities. As a city council, they can decide how those funds are going to be spent. City Administrator John Walsh is a big proponent of tourism and directing revenues from tourism to be reinvested into tourism year after year to continue to build the program, bringing more and more people here, thus hopefully building more and more business and development. John is a community developer at heart. It is his passion. There's no fault in that and nothing wrong with that. Hats are off to John and Tina for building such a large program like Halloween Town over the last 10 years. Tina built that from nothing and deserves the credit that comes with it. I will say, as it has been pointed out by Mr. Preheim, who is here in this room, there is a city ordinance regarding how the tax revenue is spent. This is in regards to the transient tax or hotel motel tax. This ordinance, which was adopted in 2018 by none of you current councilors, states that 91% of revenue must be placed in the tourism fund, 9% shall be placed in the general fund or as an admin fee. Mr. Walsh is on record numerous times stating that the city is required by law to use 100% of the transient tax on tourism. What the ORS or city ordinance does not do is state how the tourism profits must be used after the city holds events. Again, that means for years, John Walsh has been lying to us. Lastly, in regards to the audits conducted involving tourism, Mr. Brown states, it is my recommendation during this meeting to have an audit completed for the previous 2 years as allowed in the current contract. This was agreed amongst the council and city administrator. As part of this meeting, in the packet, you can also read the 12 staff recommendations from the internal review by department directors that we thought were needed to continue moving forward with the current contractor. It is worth noting that, to my knowledge, out of the 12 recommendations, none were acted upon. Going back to the audit, after this meeting, I attempted to call firms and CPA auditors I need to gauge interest in the assignment. The only interested party was a company called Marina & Co. I introduced them to John, who was going to handle the arrangement since he oversees tourism. What was agreed upon was not an audit by any means. It's what is referred to as an AUP, or an agreed upon procedures. So once again, John Walsh has been lying to us, the citizens, and to you, the council. For the reasons I've stated, I believe the time is now for this council to vote and remove John Walsh from his position. Mr. Walsh has proven time and time again he can't be honest. Mr. Walsh has proven time and time again he doesn't care about public safety. And Mr. Walsh has proven that he is not fit to be the city administrator of St. Helens. And then in my spreadsheet that I gave you guys, I just basically pulled the budget for 5 cities to include ours that were closest in population. So you'll see in there that Coos Bay with 15,799 residents has a total budget of $73,598,000. They dedicate $10 million to their public safety, 14% of their total budget. The city of Troutdale with 14,948 citizens has a total budget of $25.5 million. They dedicate $4.8 million, which is 19% of their total budget. And to be clear, Troutdale, they do not have their own police department. They give Multnomah County $4.8 million to have police services. The city of St. Helens, 14,892 citizens with a budget of $52,600,000 dedicates $5.7 million to the police department, which is 11% of total budget. The city of LeGrand, 13,200 citizens, $22 million budget, $3.9 million, which is 18% of their total budget. The city of Sandy, 12,990 citizens with a budget of $66,359,000, dedicates $8.4 million to their police department, which is 13% of the total budget. So just from those numbers in the 5 cities closest to us in size, you can see that we're below what most other cities in similar size dedicate to public service or public safety. And then to the mayor's point, and I know he's not here, the mayor states numerous times that he's increased the police budget by 142% since he took office. So I posted the numbers here from Public Works, the police department, the library, administration, finance, and planning, which I read in my statement. And you can see that the administration department increased their budget by 147% since the same time frame. But the mayor wants to point out that he's increased 142% for police budget. So the argument needs to die. Next, I have an email that was sent to us. It was sent to St. Helens PD info and shared with me. I won't be sharing who sent the email as I did not get his permission to read his name. He states, greetings. After watching the St. Helens Council session roundtable last night, I was taken aback. City's abysmal disregard for its own public safety. I really had no idea. This is why transparency is so important, especially in small towns where things can be easily hidden. One officer or official made some excellent points. No one was identified in the video, so I have no clue who some of those folks are or what they do. Are we not privy to know who works for us? Another ball-dropping moment with the city. Regarding the recent surge of apartments being constructed without employing more certified patrol officers, and even more stunning, a surge of sex crime investigations piling up on the desk of the only detective tasked with these investigations. The person owns a business in town. I'm not going to read his business. We are constantly aghast as the city's lack of transparency and its inability to appoint a spokesperson to address the concerns of its businesses, let alone their police department. I won't get into this grand scheme of the riverfront development plan, which was originally sold as something completely different than what it is apparently going to eventually happen. How does one collect bids from a contractor, then allow them to inflate their numbers in the middle of the job? But even more important, a fully functional police department is vital. Yes, in a building that's not on the cusp of being condemned. And where have all these funds gone that have returned from supposedly successful Halloween Town? Why haven't these funds been invested in public safety? In full transparency, I live in the county where the sheriff's office is our public safety organization. St. Helens Police Department provides public safety for our business. I worked on the committee that successfully passed the jail levy. Maybe it's time volunteers assemble an informational campaign for a properly funded St. Helens Police Department. I wonder if voters have any idea that their city cannot properly fund its own police department. I fully support your decision and position on demanding John Walsh resign. We need a city manager educated and experienced in the economics of city budgets and funding now. As for the city council, I always tell folks to vote for candidates who can bring you the results you want, not folks you want to backslap and have a beer with. Your government is a direct reflection of you. The riverfront project is a great idea if you can actually fund the project from start to finish and if it's a priority. Done correctly, this has the opportunity to attract many new visitors from Portland and the metro area, spending money so we can hire more local folks who in turn will support other local businesses. But what good is it if folks who enjoy the riverfront when they don't feel safe bringing their families because a foolish city hasn't budgeted properly for its public safety? I have always questioned these big crowds as someone Has someone done a public safety plan in case something dire happens? Is there enough police, fire, and first responder logistical support to handle a potential catastrophic event? Currently, these events are a controlled disaster and prospective devil's terrorist playground. I'm shocked, although in the current political climate, I shouldn't be, at the city's disregard for the lack of public safety concerns. Instead, they reach for more shiny objects. Again, I had no idea the St. Helens Police Department was in this bad of shape. When we call your offices in the past, they've always responded with respect and professionalism, professional communication skills, but I quickly realized that their hands are tied. They politely smile and say, "Don't stop calling us when you see this activity." It's pathetic that I actually feel sorry for these cops. Is that really the direction the city, who is serious about protecting its citizens and advancing tourism, should act? In closing, I support your quest to convince the city to hire enough detectives, sergeants, and patrol officers to run a successful police department. The building needs to be after that. That was like I said, it was an email we got from a citizen. Well, he's lived in the county, his business is within the city. It is concerning to me. And again, I state, the association states that tourism does have a place here. It's important here. It can bring in a lot of revenue for the city. But the revenue and the budget is not being done correctly, and something needs to change. I heard at the 2 o'clock session that the council wants to go for a levy. I'm here to tell you that going for a levy will not get any help right now. We have 3 people at a minimum that will be gone by November 1st. That means we'll be 3 people short. 24-hour staffing goes away.
Before the levy's even voted on.
We don't have the bodies to run 24/7 service in the city of St. Helens if there's no immediate fix to the department. It's just how it is. It's a fact.
We know that. We did talk about that. We knew it wasn't an immediate solution. So, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Are you ready to have dialogue?
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
I think it's nothing new. Heard before. I sense the frustration. I can see where you're coming from.
We understand what we're asking on the water bill. I mean, I understand that's not an ideal ask of, for you guys to put people in that position or 4 people. I mean, especially given the economy, but I mean, that being said, none of the other options are realistic when you talk about timeframes and, getting positions immediately posted and open to start hiring, which is a long process. I mean, everything else down the line is, puts us even farther behind the curve and isn't realistic as far as fixing the retirements that are happening this fall.
We made these concerns 3 years ago when we had time to prepare. We wanted to prepare for the retirements. We knew it was going to be a big batch of retirements. So we were hopeful back then that we could find a solution and get officers hired and filled before the retirements happen. And we made the plea again in 2022. We made it again in 2023, and now we're already too late. We're going to lose people. We're not going to be able to fill it. I've already told people that they should stop volunteering for overtime because that's their family time and they're giving it up. They're giving up their own life so that they can come to work for a short-staffed agency. So I've already told people if they don't want to work overtime, say no. There's nothing that's going to be done. We're just going to end up having open shifts and we're not going to have police coverage, and there's nothing that we can do about it.
And I think it's one thing if there's an end in sight. I mean, if you tell these officers, hey, we're asking you to cover all these overtime shifts and, countless hours, every single paycheck. If there's an end in sight and they felt like it was temporary and like, hey, there's 5 openings posted and we're continuously open and, we're trying to get you guys help, I feel like people would be more apt to fill those gaps in the schedule.
Work all that overtime. I know it's bad for your mental health and it's bad for your families. And so, it's not cost effective either.
Yeah, I agree.
We totally agree with you guys. I think the problem is that we're trying to figure out how to go from a culture of, how we've been funding the police, which I've only been here 3 years, so I don't really know the history of how they've funded police and refilled positions, but kind of having that ghost position for when someone retires is really hard because you have to have that money set aside for somebody who's not doing the job.
Mhm.
And I understand why it's necessary because it takes so long to get someone trained. It's not like you just show up and you do a couple of classes and you're on the road. Like, it takes a long time to get somebody to refill that position. And I think that's going to be the transition that we have to get to, is figuring out how to budget for that ghost position that nobody's using while we're waiting so we can get someone trained and, you know, and plan for that retirement phase. And that's just not something that we've had a history of doing in the budget. I don't know how other cities do that, you know, if they have these ghost positions that kind of hang out so that the money's there. But that's the culture shift that we're gonna have to hit. And I think it starts with getting an analysis of our staffing. We've been, like you guys know, I've been talking about that for years too. So I know it's important. We have to have the numbers. We don't just go out and say we're gonna do something and not really have somebody who came in and look at it and study and tell us exactly what we need. So that's where we start, I
Yeah,
think.
we're not opposed to a staffing study at all, but I think the city needs to be prepared to act on that, right? Because the staffing study that's, you know, more than a decade old says, hey, you guys need 8 more officers than what you have. So a new one's gonna tell us we need even more than that. So if the city's not prepared to hire a dozen officers, then what's the point of the study?
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
no, totally. And that's something that we're gonna have to come up with a plan. And we're gonna rely on our budget committee and we're gonna rely on other very important people in the community who have time and attention to help us figure it out. But I do believe that we don't have time to keep kicking this down the road. I hear you guys. I know it's a dire situation and we have to figure out something to do now. And it's not gonna be easy. No matter what we do, it's gonna be wrong
Yeah.
in somebody's eyes. So, yeah. I'm not gonna keep talking on it because I could talk forever, but does anyone have any questions or any other comments? We are going to talk about this later too.
Like I said earlier, I didn't realize they wouldn't have the breadth financially to start their program to get someone in. And so they're literally a change, they can't do anything, so
Yeah.
they've got to have that flexibility where they can have that funding, they can do that.
How long does it take to, someone who's never been a police officer before, how long does it take before that person can go on the road? It's a long time.
Yeah.
And it's not just like hiring for a regular position. For somebody just.
What a lot of cities and agencies do too is they open continuously, you just leave it open for laterals. Lateral meaning someone's already certified to be a police officer in the state of Oregon. They can lateral over, go through a quicker training process, you know, learn the city, learn the policies. And they're typically on the road within 6 months or less, depending where they're coming from. So a lot of cities leave it open continuously for that. In the event that lateral applicants are more rare, but obviously more desirable. So they leave it open continuously in the event that one of those wants to apply, then figure it out as they get applications. So that's pretty common in law enforcement, but
What does your typical pool look like? So say you have an opening, you get the people that apply right away.
not compared to what we used to. I think we typically get
25. I think Kathleen can probably vouch for that. 25.
Per posting?
with a small percentage of those being laterals, is that safe to say? Yeah.
And a small percentage that don't make it past application process. In my eyes, the easiest solution right now is something that the public hates, and I understand why. I hate paying more taxes too. It sucks. And I definitely see why it's not fun and why people would say they don't want to do it, but at this point, we don't have a choice. And then the next solution is to reallocate the budget. Right now, it's 11% of total budget goes to public safety. That's a very low number. So that number, if that number went to 18%, that's $3.9 million that goes into the police budget. So it's something has to change in the budget or nothing gets fixed in public safety. And the purpose of a municipality is to provide public safety to their community. That's like one of the main purposes of a municipality. And I think that we as a city right now are failing miserably in that aspect.
Our work session earlier today, we're talking about what we can do now, some options to within this budget year to get at least advertising and have those announcements out and get talk about that.
Yeah. Make no mistake about it. I mean, you could open 5 spots tomorrow and we're not getting 5 good applicants that first month, those first few months. I mean, that's not happening. Yeah, so. I mean, they're gonna straggle in regardless of how many openings we decide to have, so. And they're gonna be staggered regardless.
At least starting the process.
Yes.
And then hopefully changing the way that we budget for police with all of this in mind.
Thank you guys for hearing us out.
Okay, now we're gonna open this up for the comments. If you'd like to speak, please come sit at the seats up here and state your name for the record. You will have 3 minutes. Sorry, I have this little statement to read real quick, explaining what visitor comments are. Now is the time for visitor comments. The visitor comment period is an essential part of local government meetings. Each person has 3 minutes to speak. The city council will take all input into consideration. However, in observance of Oregon open meeting laws, this isn't the time for dialogue, but rather a time for us to listen to you. Our city administrator and city recorder are taking notes of action if needed. Thank you for participating in visitor comments.
Hi, my name is Nancy Whitney, and I'm 84 years old. And I've lived here for 81 of those years. And my husband and I live on a half acre over on Wagner Avenue. And we've been there for almost 49 years. First, I want to say that I totally support the police. I would totally support a levy. I'd even go out and help get signatures for that levy. Yes, they do. They're a great group and they need help. What I am concerned about is I understand earlier you did talk about a levy for this fall, but you also plan on adding an additional $25 to our water bill. I averaged it out before I came over and my husband and I are now paying $2,400 a year for a water bill. And it's because we have gardens and we water those gardens, and I'm not gonna let my trees die that I've been taking care of all these years. But with that and taxes for the sheer pleasure of living in our home at $6,000 a year. And we've also been charged sewer fees during summer months when you know darn well that extra runoff is not going into the sewage feed. It's going into our gardens. And I understand that's going to be changed soon too. But you know, if you want to build a police station, why don't you put the vote before the people? Why have you continued not wanting to put a levy? And how long do you think you continue to raise our rates? Sooner or later, the city's going to have a lawsuit brought by those who are already forming to stop the illegal ploy that you're attempting on raising the fees time after time. Do a levy, help these guys out. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, if I give you one of these.
Yep, do you have one for Kathy over here?
Yeah.
For the record?
Thank you.
State your name for the record?
Tony Doggett. So I work down at St. Louis Marina. I'm also a small business owner here in town. Recently opened a store, a little gallery. You can look at the bar graph there, and I'm here to talk about the tourism and how it affects us. So we actually opened our business knowing that we had an anchor, Halloween Town, having watched all the other businesses, talking to other business owners, knowing how well they did. Here, this is a difficult town to open a small store like this, so we can't rely on just the locals to keep us afloat. We pay $1,500 a month of rent, and so we have to have pretty good sales every month. So, I guess so. I drove. Somebody said that they didn't know what the definition of tourism is. I don't know who said that, but that's what I heard somebody say. Definition of tourism is a social economic phenomenon which entails the movement of people to countries or places outside their usual environment for personal or business professional purposes. So I drove the little train down there for 6 weeks for Halloween Town, and I met people from Japan, Holland, Germany, France, New Orleans, Carolinas, Texas. People came from Seattle, Vancouver. Why they come, I don't know. I don't get the whole concept of Halloween, but we make money. We love it. Okay, so
Okay, so basically Halloween Town takes us through January, February and March, which flatlines here, just completely flatlines, nothing goes on down here. And it's not only Halloween Town, it's 13 nights, it's pub crawl, we've been starting the sidewalk chalk art thing, the sandcastle, competition. I guess you're gonna dig up another road, you already got one road dug up for a month with 3 businesses that are trapped inside orange sort of bollards all around it. And this has been going on for months. Now you're gonna dig up another road. It makes it very hard for us to do business down here. But honestly, despite all of that, this Halloween Town made us a ton of money. I mean, even with everybody sitting up in the square up here, they still came through town. They didn't have any parking. I mean, Tina made it work, and we were very grateful for that. So I'm not sure, but the one thing that we have going for us in this town, that you guys are deciding that maybe it's not a good time to renew her contract, it makes us very nervous, because we won't survive without it. We can't survive without tourism. And I know, Mr. Hubbard, so you're gonna open your own shop. Well, you won't do well without tourism. You shut this shit down, excuse my French, we're dead in the water, all of us. This will just be a street, no offense to the hairdressers. It'll be a street of hair. That's it. The lawyers. This doesn't work for us, you know, and I don't want to be another ghost shop that just opened and closed. We put a lot of our own money, time, we don't take a salary. My partner and her mother have worked tirelessly to make this business work, so please. Please, don't, I mean, if you don't have a plan, then just continue on with what we've got, where it's working. If you have an alternative plan, please let us know. Okay, thank you.
My name is Nathan Wallace. I'm a Cub Master for Pack 106 local scouts. So dear St. Helens City Council, I am here representing the BSA Scouts Unit 106, your local scouts. 13 Nights has become not only a great community event, but for us, our main source of funding for our scouts. Council was very aware that Tina's contract was due for renewal, but long before now. Why has this been allowed to lapse? We don't understand how it's possible that the basic inner workings of the city leaders have let this happen. Tina has been an essential supporter of scouts, and we need her to be supported in return. Due to the lack of attention to this matter, the council is basically telling our citizens that this city cannot currently operate within these standards. We are uneasy. We have been participating in 13 Nights for 6 years now. Not only are we down there earning funds for the scouts, but we are teaching our scouts essential skills, providing a sense of belonging and community, and overall having a great experience. Our scouts rely on this event to get them enough funds to go to camps, pay for supplies, etc. Because this event, our scouts have been able to completely fund their camps expenses without the help of their parents or guardians who usually can't afford it. The feeling of the scout being able to earn the funds is such an accomplishment. Without having this event, we are going to have to scramble for the fundraising opportunities, which from our experience will not provide funding we need to help them progress. Not only 13 Nights, but our Independence Day celebration we partake in also is essential. This is a vital day for our scouts. We are out there every year with our scouts raising our hands to salute as our flag is raised and banging the bells at 2 p.m. These have become a tradition in our community. What are we teaching our kids if we can't keep these most momentous events in their life? We are pleading to all members today to get this corrected immediately so we can maintain a city that thrives and shows they care about all who live here, including its growing generation. Thank you.
I'm William Eagle. I live at 151 Allendale Drive. Like Nancy Whitney, I'm not speaking there. I really think that you people are correct when you say that we have a problem with our funding of our police. We need policemen. We need a place for the policemen to meet. We need a police station. My feeling though is that I don't know why we need to build a new building, why we can't just remodel what we have or build on the existing property. My other concern is for Halloween Town itself. Halloween Town is bringing us millions of dollars to the community. This is money that goes back to the community. What little money they get in tourism doesn't just end up in somebody's pocket. It actually goes to community service organizations. It goes to kids. It goes to things that improve things in our community. My concern, big concern though, is how you're planning to pay for it. If you're gonna be charging $25 extra on our water bill, I would much rather see a levy where we can vote on it. And I would support a levy. I certainly would. And I vote yes for it. My concern about this putting on our water bill is that someone's gonna say this is not legal. And it's gonna cost us a lot more money in the long run than we'll actually make from collecting from this. Anyway, I'm in favor of, I hope that we can continue with Halloween Town, the 4th of July celebration with 13 nights on the river, because what's happening if we get rid of, for instance, if Tina is let go. I mean, she's our goose that lays the golden eggs for us. My goodness, let's not kill that goose. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jane Garcia. I'm an owner broker of real estate office right across the plaza from you. And I was here this afternoon for the meeting. And I sat here listening to the presentations, to the council, the public comments regarding tourism, 13 nights on the river, Halloween Town. And I watched your faces. When we purchased and restored our office building in 2018, we were excited about the possibilities for the future of St. Helens. The waterfronts, the events that were happening, the growing tourism, and we wanted to be a part of it. I've been in real estate for over 45 years now. We believe in this town. So we became city sponsors. We spend several $1,000s each year for that opportunity to support our community. We've done that every year since we've been here. When there's an event, we go all out. We're decorated for Halloween, for 4th of July, for Christmas. Over the years, during Halloween Town, we have countless people come into our office to talk to us about the city, to get their picture taken with our decorations, and tell us how excited they are to be there. And 13 nights. What can I say about that? Just this last year, we were at a charity event. I had a gentleman come over to my table, introduce himself, and ask if I was Jane Garcia. Sometimes I wonder if I should say yes or no, but I did say yes. And he told me he wanted to thank us for sponsoring 13 nights. It's one of their favorite events. They come every week. And he just wanted me to know how much he appreciated personally our sponsorship of that event. Now we're at risk of losing the events that bring so much enjoyment and money to our city. And I can't help but think that without the direction of the amazing tourism director, what will St. Helens look like? What will downtown look like? I can tell you, it'll look like failed businesses, empty storefronts, a downtown area that looks like Fat Boy Pizza that everybody complains about. And you'll be able to say, wow, look what we've accomplished. We took down a thriving tourism business at the expense of our citizens, business owners who count on those businesses for their livelihood. Can I just get a show of hands? How many people are affected financially by tourism? By Halloween Town, 13 nights. Thank you. That's going to be your legacy. And how can you be proud of that?
Right now, you're talking about extending the existing contract for a certain period of time while you're trying to negotiate a new contract. What happens at that end of that term if that contract is not extended? Where will we be then? And where will these people be?
Hi, my name's Brandon Hogan. I run a small business here in town called Brogan Made. I don't know if you guys recognize me, I'm a mushroom guy. So I sell my mushrooms in basically two places. One, I have a small website that I do a little bit of business on, and about 90% of my income comes from 13 nights and all. So as it stands right now, if those two events don't go down this year, I probably won't have a business by the end of the year. So figure I throw that out there. The still are affected a little more than years. I work out of my house, I have a storefront. I have my website and I advertise on TikTok. And that's what my budget allows me to do right now. And so without those two events, I have one other event I do, which hopefully does well this year. So I'm going with that, I guess. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Molly Matchak. I'm here as a citizen, and I'm also here as the maintenance person for the St. Helens Police Department. First of all, I believe we should be doing a levy. These guys are awesome. I don't work with them, but I'm in their environment for 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. Second of all, Halloween town, no brainer. My brother said it 2 years ago. McDonald's has the Big Mac on the menu. Would they ever take the Big Mac off the menu? No. Taking Halloween town off St. Helens, ridiculous. I lost my business, not because of Halloween town, a little bit of Halloween town, but everyone knows in this town that Molly's Market is no longer around. Thank you.
We miss you, Molly.
My name is Nicholas Helmick. I live in Citizen of St. Helens. When I was in the Navy, worked on F-18 Super Hornets, and we kind of had this saying, if it doesn't make sense, do it. And if it does make sense, don't do it. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here with City Council tonight. It doesn't make sense that we're talking about ending one of the greatest tourism directors the city has ever seen and has built this from the ground up. I think you can explain this. I think even the children in this room can understand that there's money to be made here. I believe the Golden Goose was a perfect example. Tourism is to benefit the city of the citizens of St. Helens. It's not to give the money to the government. If it wasn't for Halloween Town, this town would be a ghost town. We've lost the mill. We've lost every other form of income that the city used to have. And to think about just getting rid of Halloween Town, if you want to change the contract, I understand that. I mean, I don't think anyone here really knows what's in the contract for whatever reason. That's understandable. Maybe it's none of our business, but what is our business is how the city is ran and the money that comes into the citizens of this city. And for all of you to sit up here and think about ruining that is just despicable. I'm not going to call for resignation. I don't envy your guys' jobs. I know it's very hard to come up with your people complain all the time. I have the utmost respect for you. I do know though that this kind of smells like a quid pro quo situation. And if there is some sort of insider dealing, I will be dropping every FOIA request and getting every single email in regards to Tina's contracts and reviewing them instantly. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hello. My name is Teresa Fox. About 4 years ago, I came here to St. Helens and I was homeless. And I came here on a housing voucher. And prior to that, I hadn't worked in like maybe 6 years. I couldn't hold down a job. Nobody would think I was weird or I didn't fit in, right? Excuse me. This is really hard. I've been holding on to this for a couple of weeks. One day I got a call or an email from Tina and she said, hey, I heard that you were in Halloween Town. And I was in the original Halloween Town. I was a featured extra part. So I'm kind of a little bit of a celebrity here in town. And Tina gave me a job at a little market across the street called the Dark Market, where I've worked for over a year. And I love that place. It's like, it's like I am the spirit of Halloween Town, you know what I mean? Because I was in the movie. And I feel really lost and really disrespected that nobody's seen my side. And on January 2nd, I turned 66 years old, and on January 5th, I found out I didn't have a job anymore. And I wasn't planning on saying all of this stuff, but I've been quite a mess. And I'm still legally disabled. And Tina was the only person that like gave me a chance for like the last 8 years of my life. And to me, I didn't see any signs from working closely with her in the last year that would show that she was, you know, a liar or a thief, because along with the disability, I also have the ability to intuitively feel people. And when I know somebody's lying or if they've got dirty energy, I feel it deeply within myself, you know what I mean? And I never, ever got that from Tina. But Tina to me is a bit of my hero because nobody ever gave me a chance. And I don't really know where I'm going from here because I don't really know what kind of job I could find that would fit me as well as the job that I had at the Dark Market. So excuse all the blubbering. I wanted to come across more professional, but oh well. So thank you for listening.
Hello, I'm Janet LaSolin. I live at 501 North 10th Street. I've lived in St. Helens for the past 30+ years. And as someone was saying, Tina has built this Halloween Town and the 13 Nights up for 10 years. I have done the 13 Nights on the River displaying my handmade goods. There's a lot of us here that do that. And the first year I worked Halloween Town, I drove the shuttle. People were commenting to her that I was the tour guide. So she decided that I was great at PR, which I have done professionally. But she has had me run the haunted house for 4 or 5 years. And in addition to what the other person said, I met people from Australia, Japan, and of course Canada. There were a lot of people from Canada, but all these other people that she mentioned too. And I became the babysitter when kids were too scared to go in and I could talk their parents into leaving them with me. I did return the kids, darn it. And Tina does so much work. She is a professional. She knows what she's doing. She put the people that she knew she could trust in their places. My ex that I'm separated from has always done their garbage and maintaining the bathrooms. And he's even received tips and thanks from people for doing that. You don't want to get rid of Halloween Town. I have 6 and 8 hour lines waiting to get in. And I try to space them so they're not trampling each other. Thank you. Oh, I'm 77 years old.
Hi, I'm Kelly Whitney, and I'm gonna keep it short. I guess I got called at the last minute about the water bills going up $25, and that just, you know, made me get off the couch and come down here going, this can't happen because, you know, what is that, 25, 30, 40% of some of our water, you know, our monthly bills, and that's nothing. I don't think a lot of people in this town can afford right now. It sounds like the town can afford things right now. But now I'm listening to everything else, just as upset about the thought of losing 13 nights. Halloween Town, if it's, look at all these people that support it, drives me crazy, but I totally get it, and we don't have much else, I paddle out, I kayak on this river all the time, I love the sandcastle thing. Your tourism is down here, but there's so much going on, you need the police to take care of people when it's going on, so you've got to fund them. So this all has to play together instead of everybody, pulling apart. But you're gonna piss a lot of people off when we get that next water bill and it's, gone up, didn't it already go up 10 for the building and things? Wasn't a $10 charge added on for that? So now another 25, so $35 more out of a 70, it's, just here to say I oppose and wanted to support everybody that's down there tonight. The water bill thing, I don't think it's legal. I think that I can go ahead and pay my water bill without my water being turned off. But I don't think you can turn off my bill for the 25 that I'm going to refuse to pay for the illegal charge that is going to show up sometime soon on my bill. Pretty sure about that. So, if we get enough support, I hope everybody won't pay that. And then, I don't know, maybe our sewers will back up, the water will flow. I don't know. So, right, I've got to do something.
First, I want to say that testimony should not be read into the record from a no-name person.
Yeah.
I support the police, but I'm saddened by some of their comments tonight. The city has issues that needed addressed besides wasting time on the money grab of E2C fund. The city adding money to the water bill without voter approval instead of the police or a city putting up a small levy in front of the taxpayers and let them decide what they want. They want to instead force an illegal tax on the taxpayers without their approval. Or better yet, the police are trying to steal the tourism funds while complimenting the heathen. How droll. With the huge amount of money E2C generates, the council needs to stop engaging in the false and deceitful accusations made every year against E2C. Stop the fake news, speak out. Let's keep beating a dead horse to death with the same outcome, the next year and the next year and the next year. E2C has passed all audits with flying colors. She has been transparent, answers questions. Does the city need a long contract with E2C? The answer is simple, yes. To protect E2C from the city of St. Helens, the police and Councilman Hubbard. Come on, council, stand up, take charge, stop wasting time so you can focus on actual pressing city issues. Main Street tried to throw a monkey wrench into Halloween Town and are the main drivers to get rid of E2C in my opinion. But facts are, Councilman Hubbard's received $200,000 grant from Main Street and his wife sits on the board. Can you see the conflict and the attack dog? So why would we want them to take over E2C's work? It's beyond stupidity. Councilman Hubbard running tourism, when he had to have tourism explained to him? Yeah, great choice. We know that tourism will be bigger and better with him, in charge, right? Especially when his contacts and his volunteers. All I hear is a giant fizzing sound as tourism disappears and businesses go broke. And the downtown is once again dead. What a joke, but no one is laughing. We all know how hard it is to get people to volunteer consistently and year after year. We had hardly any events, barely a 4th of July because lack of funds and lack of volunteers. The 4th was passed on to E2C and Tina made it successful again. People come to all the events, local, national, and international people. You want people to buy local and support the businesses? Well, it's time the city council listens and supports the businesses and the community and the people. What is wrong with the city of St. Helens? Only the council can answer that one. The city needs to rename itself. And Dysfunction Town comes to mind. Thank you.
I have a letter to read from an email and they'll actually put their name on it because, they put their name on it. Please read the following. I graduated in 07 from St. Helens High School. The town was slow and things were going away fast. I worked for the St. Helens Cafe for a year before it closed. Like many other businesses around it, they were not getting enough business to stay open. I watched my favorite bookshop closed. The town had no outside draw, so everything was closing. Fearing the ghost town that it was turning into, I moved like many others did. When Halloween Town started to grow, more businesses sprang to life. The rundown motel began to improve, more places and people were coming back to the town that was on its way to becoming a ghost town. Now, by this council holding up tourism, 13 nights on the river, 4th of July celebration, sandcastle competition, Halloween town, Christmas ships with visits from Santa and Krampus go away, and they're making this town move backwards. What about the many people who are affected by stopping the progress? How many years have you done audits without having any bad coming of it? I personally have invested $10,000 in a product, which I know isn't much to you, but with a household of 6, it's more than we should. The same goes for many other vendors and local businesses alike. I want you to take a good look at the people around you because your actions are affecting their livelihood, not yours. Remember that. Casey Curio, St. Helens High School graduate of 07, as well as vendor of Spirit Halloween Town.
Any other public comments? Okay.
Stephen Toski, citizen in St. Helens. So I think nobody lives a perfect life and sometimes people make mistakes. And I think what's happened here is that people talk to one of our counselors and they had a skewed and incorrect view of what our tourism program is. And it really isn't to bring in money to the city so we can go to police. The objective of tourism is to bring people into our town so that our businesses make money. And I want to say that to Brandon and Russ and the city council that are negotiating this contract, I don't think you fully appreciated the value of our tourism program. You've just begun to see the value of our program to the businesses that are here. How many people are affected? How many lives are affected? People literally are going to go out of business. And so when you move forward in this contractual process, and I'm confident that the council is going to say we want to renew the contract, or at least we're going to extend it while we negotiate. You need to take the time to understand the value of the thing that you are negotiating for our people. It's extremely valuable. We have a contractor who has brought a extremely successful program to us. You've heard at 3-minute intervals the tip of what people will tell you about the value she brings. In addition to doing our entire program last year, she also successfully did 2 other programs for 2 other cities. She's an amazing person. That does amazing things. And so I'm going to hold a meeting next week, December 31, at the library. And I'm going to invite our businesses to come down and have a roundtable discussion as citizens to talk about what tourism brings to them. Talk about how many people come in. What are the numbers we're talking about? You got a graph here today that showed you how much one business makes during Halloween Town. That's the kind of data you need to understand. How aggressive are we going to be with our tourism contractor? What kinds of concessions are we going to give? We have to remember what she brings to us as a people. So that's one point. With the police, we do not know where we are financially. We absolutely do not have a clue. That is clear. And I don't think that we should be kicking the can down the road means that we are delaying things just to delay. We are in a process of analysis right now that is unprecedented in our city. Mark Gunderson said, this is the way it always should be done. Brandon Sundin said, I think we should do more analysis. What I say is here that we don't band-aid this. We just don't throw money at a problem because that's all we're doing is we're guessing. We go through the budget committee process. We figure out how much our police really need. And then we go to our people and we say, we have looked at this thoroughly, your citizen committee, your counselors, and we believe that a levy is the best thing. So for the public safety, and we get them what we need. And if our people reject it, well, then that's their decision. But I do not believe that we should just simply throw money at this problem. And I understand the police frustration. I totally do. They got a contract that was known to be unsustainable years ago. And now we are at the point of reckoning. But I don't think the right way to go is to just throw more money at it, especially in this way. Thank you.
I beat you. So I'm gonna change the tide for just a second. I'm Christina Sullivan. I'm coming to you as a citizen, but I just wanted to clarify a few things that I heard the police say. First of all, I'm a huge supporter of police. I always have been my entire life. I see the necessity for them and the safety of our community. They deserve the absolute best from us, from all of us. I do believe it. But I personally think that the narrative being sold to you that the police get 11% of the city's budget is a little bit of a manipulation of the numbers. Much like tourism funds, you have to take into account that enterprise funds, SDCs, capital improvement funds, and loan money by law is very strictly regulated and must be used almost exclusively for expenditures that can't pay for police. So if you look at the actual numbers of the 23-24 adopted general budget, the police, along with admin, library, recreation, municipal court, they're all funded out of the general fund pot of money. This last adopted general budget, it was 11.9 million. The police personnel and materials and services costs are 5.6 million. So it's not actually 11%, they are 47.3% of the budgeted money that's available to them. So I just wanted to clarify that because I do think that a lot of times things get put out there that are half truths. It's not really that they're false. It's just that they're not the whole picture of what's actually being presented. And I think the community deserves to know that. But like I said, they deserve to have the things that they're requesting. I do want to also comment, I used to be involved with 13 Eyes in the River. I used to run 13 Eyes in the River with the St. Helens Community Foundation. And so I understand how the special use permits work. And I know that earlier the permitting process was brought up for the parade. And I know that the permitting process has changed. But in the past, the chief has always signed off on those permits. I know that he specifically has asked to be removed from those permits. I also know that those permits that are finalized and approved by our permit person do get sent out to it's like, I don't know, 12 or 15 people that receive that. And the chief is the first one on the list. So for the police to say that they weren't notified about the parade is concerning to me because that means someone's not reading their emails. I also would like to say that I'm saddened to see the police call John a liar because I do know that John tries really hard to provide for all of us as citizens and as police. We're all human, we all make mistakes, but I do think that we need to move forward in that. You guys are doing your best, and I do not envy being you. I'm glad you are here, not me. Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to say I do support the police. Also, I do not like the idea of tacking more money on for a water bill. The last increase you gave us was almost 233% for the police station. We should be able to vote on this money. We shouldn't be forced to pay for it for a water bill. The water bill should be for water and water only, and food relating to that. We need to have some type of a levy where the citizens can vote on all of this stuff. The CD or the systems development charge. From everything I understand, can't that money, couldn't we raise those prices? The people that are coming into the town and making the town bigger, they should help pay for our police. With the water bill going up, I also get really curious about all these apartments that are being built here. You're trying to rely upon, I'm a single person in a house, one water bill, one income, semi-retired. And that's an extreme amount for me to have to start to pay more on my water bill. You're talking about, $300-400 more a year that I would be putting out to pay for that. And that's getting to be a little bit too much. Everyone always does. It's just a small increase. But you go back, the Scappoose Bay Marina, the parking fee there is going from $3 to $10, another 300% increase. These increases all add up when you put them together, and we need to start thinking about that way, that all the increases, everybody always just says it's a small increase, but when you add them all up, it's driving people out, you know? The other one is that you guys are faced with a really hard dilemma. You've got a lot of businesses here who love Halloween Town. And then you talk to your citizens, though, who aren't businesses, and a lot of them question it. And that's gonna be up to you guys to decide who's right and who's wrong. You know, it's really a hard one for you guys to balance. You know, I mean, personally, I'm starting to have to go away for certain parts because I feel like I'm driven out of the town for almost 7 weeks of the year. Your businesses, your locals leave. Yes, we have a lot of non-local people that come in and help support the businesses, and that is important too. But you've also got to think about your normal citizens and how they get. Thank you.
Oh, you want to go?
You're right there.
Brady Freeheim, I want to comment about your proposal that you're gonna have a 6-month extension for them. That's a bad idea. That would put you in the middle of 13 nights, and then we're not gonna have a coordinator. I think there's a good possibility that Tina may not sign her contract. I don't know what changes you want to make, but if it was me, I'd tell you that. Screw off, right? Why would you continue to be here to be tortured year after year after year? When you can go someplace else, and she's being recruited, frankly. So we'll probably have 13 nights, and we'll just be in Rainier. And then of course, so to me, it's give her a year contract. If you want to try and negotiate it, you do that after you give her a year extension. And then you can go ahead and, if you don't get a new contract by February with her, and that should be your deadline to get a contract with her by February, then at least you might have enough time to try and find somebody else. Because I think the odds are that she's not going to stick around. I know I wouldn't. And then I also want to tell you to reject the $25 fee. I think you've heard a lot. There's a lot of people that cannot afford it. And I don't think you should give into the pressure from the police. And I realize that that's hard. And I would have supported, frankly, a levy from them until they came and attacked everybody in the city, all the other workers in the city and tourism. I think that was just stupid of them, and they shouldn't have done that. And I think they didn't engage any people that really going to support them. They've lost support. And they said, oh, we won't get a levy. I think the levy would have passed. I don't know if it will pass now, because they pissed off a lot of people, frankly, including half of your city workers. But you know, that was their own responsibility, and you guys shouldn't be. How many dollars are you going to add to our water bill to give the rest of your staff some staffing that they need? You heard them come and ask me come and say how much of us are that you're not staffing. So let's just tack another $25-$30 on to get them staffing. You want to build a police station? I would have. I don't think I would now. But I would have supported like an $8 million 5-year levy to remodel and expand the police station and for temporary staffing. I don't know that I would now. Frankly, the way I'm so irritated with the police, I think we should talk to Sheriff Pixley on Scappooses and saying, this is do away with the whole department. If you guys want to be unprofessional and come here and attack the mayor. In addition, I don't think that you should be having a bill to pass a water bill fee, number one, without the mayor. And number two, without it being on the agenda. So I think that if you're going to raise a fee on our water bill, it should be on the agenda, it should be notified, and the mayor should be here. And then, of course, the police want to talk about Matt Brown and his report that was fired, fired Matt Brown. And you want to believe his report, and he didn't even talk to tourism. He had a tourism report, and the director never showed up. So for you to sit there and listen to him like it's the gospel of Matt is ridiculous. I mean, he was clueless.
All right,
Well, I doubt I'm gonna get any clapping, but that's where I'm right.
You say your name?
Jennifer Massey. Greetings, council members. I want to thank each of you for being here. I know that you have hard decisions and, but your voters, put faith in you to do the right thing, and look at the things that are gonna affect the many, not the few. John Walsh, I have concluded that you are very bad at your job. It seems like everything that has stank on it, your hands have touched. From what I've seen, you lack substantial ethical boundaries, and you appear to display inappropriate behavior as a city administrator. It strongly appears your relationship with a city hired contractor has crossed ethical boundaries. For me, this became apparent reading some of the FOIA documents that we received, which included one from the ex-financial director who you sent, was sent to you regarding tourism for a concern for missing $537,000. Which within 18 minutes, you promptly forwarded to the tourism director, which is not a city employee, with a simple FYI. I can't imagine anyone sitting here that would think that's okay. Remove tourism. It's unacceptable for you as a city administrator. Speaking of FOIA requests, it's also come to our organization's attention that a citizen was shown an email regarding tourism that I sent to only yourself and the city council members. It is highly unlikely that any of the city council members shared it, so most likely it was you. So either you sent it, you printed it, or you allowed somebody to review it on your computer. Regardless, you created an ethical dilemma. Our organization gets FOIA documents, and since others can view them for free, we will expect the same courtesy going forward for everything we want to see, or to come down and review it on your computer. Don't get me wrong, I have nothing to hide about this email. Every member of the council knows that I was trying to understand, educate, and help correct some of the contentions regarding tourism under the radar, because we think it's important. Every one of you could nod your head and say how important it was and that we were trying to keep it out of the public light. Also come up with possible solutions and get rid of the contention for tourism in this city because it's important. Some people may have chose to make it public. That was not us. I also want to make it clear that the conversations that I had with you, every one of the scenarios presented in my email to outside parties were hypothetical, and I never used my name, the city, or where I was from, or any of the current situations. Brady, that was for you. Regardless, John, I come to no other conclusion that you are the common denominator or the root cause of all these issues at hand. It's time for you to resign, or the council to make another tough decision, and that's to fire you. So Rick is not here, but I know he's probably listening. And I just want to say that, I'm a huge supporter of Rick. I think that I voted for him. I think he does a great job. We need him to stand up and be a strong mayor. And I think, unfortunately, you guys are doing a great job, but I think you got an anchor around you that is basically dragging everything down. So I think you got to cut bait, get a new city administrator in here that's going to be honest, ethical, and start looking at things from a different lens, because it's not getting it done. We're in a financial crisis. I sat with him for 2 hours and 45 minutes and he couldn't give me any answers on budget and finances. Time to go, John. Time to go.
Well said. Okay. Oh, I see Shauna's making her way.
So, hard group to follow. I'll do my best. Shauna Straub, thanks for listening to me again, twice in the day, what a privilege. So we have for years known that the police were understaffed, yet we have taken on a huge investment of building up the riverfront and investing in infrastructure in a property with no certain plan. Invested in preloading dirt for a site for a police station that is now in question. We continue to rezone industrial property, it's right up here for the next one, over on the north side, for residential use, including an influx of apartments that oftentimes do not generate more revenue, like the ones across from Walmart. Bringing more burden on the public safety with a vastly growing population with no investment in the public safety. The city has found itself in an increasingly untenable position to justify its decisions regarding the city as a whole. It's losing trust and faith from the community. When are we going to attract industry to support the community, to help alleviate the burden on our citizens? When are we going to invest in our public safety? How are we going to preserve our tourism and sense of pride in our community? Halloween Town has become an identity for so many people in this community and has offered a way to invest in the locals, especially our youth. Through this event, it has fostered many opportunities for young kids and local artists. Last year, when I was on Sunset Boulevard in LA, my waitress was delighted when she knew where I was from. I usually say it cringingly. I mean, nothing personal, but I've been here a long time. And she was delighted to know that I was from there, and she shared her experience with her and her sister visiting the area and how delightful it was. Though many locals, I'm one of them, may not super enjoy Halloween Town, it's absolutely been a success. 13 nights is for the locals, in my opinion, as music happens to unite the masses, and I've yet to find anyone tell me they don't enjoy it. However, with tourism also comes influx of public safety needs. The city deserves an adequate police force, regardless of the levy. A levy should be for the building. We can't continue to bear the burden on water bills, and, taxation without representation per se. A levy should be for the building, but not to support our police is not supporting public safety. We have to find a solution in regards to our police force. I'm sorry, I live in the side of town where there's hotels, motels, and there is a huge influx in the area on the west side of crime. There's a huge influx of nefarious activity and people around the Walmart, grocery outlet, yo, if you know yo, you don't go. I'm sorry. I loved the VI when I was a kid, but those days are over. I really hope that you guys hear them and support them because the police do need support. I may not agree with all their sentiments, but I do believe that we need a better public safety model, whatever that looks like.
Okay, do we have other public comment in the room?
Just 1 second.
No, you've already spoke, Steve. Go ahead, come forward. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Christina Larson. I'm a small business owner here in St. Helens. I spent the last month going back and watching every single minute of every single city council meeting since October. It has been quite interesting, the things that I've seen, and I'm very concerned, as are obviously most people in this city. The things that I hear, the questions I hear are very valid questions, and I think there's been a lot of very valid questions asked tonight. But mostly my concern right now is that when I heard the question of, well, what is tourism and what does it do for our city? What does it mean for our citizens? What does it mean for our stakeholders, who I assume would be people like myself who are small business owners that benefit, and even larger business owners like the hotels that benefit from 13 nights, from Halloween Town, from 4th of July, when families are coming, people are coming from out of town, from out of country, they're coming here, they want to enjoy what we are offering at the time. And you have somebody who's been very successful in that, in offering these things and making things work. This last year with Halloween Town, I think we can all agree with all the construction and everything, it's kind of a mess. It still worked out. We still made money. We were still successful. You've heard from multiple business owners that have told you over and over and time again, our revenue during these times from 13 nights, 4th of July, sandcastle competition, Halloween Town, Christmas ships, this is our bread and butter time of year, okay? Right now, January, February, it's dead. It's dead. And I hear from other business owners who are down here. I'm not even down here. I'm in Holton, okay? And I'm kind of thankful for that in a way, because I get a little more traffic up there this time of year. I come down here and the streets are bare and you have these closed door businesses of attorneys' offices and whatnot. And that's great. I'm glad we're able to offer some services in that fashion. But so many businesses down here that are just closed door, that are specific to one niche little thing. The hairdressers, again, like anybody who uses them, that's great. But you don't have a thriving retail community. You don't have a thriving business district, uptown or downtown, either one. And all of us, we rely on the income that is coming into us during these events, okay? What is tourism? You've been told the definition of what is tourism, okay? Let me tell you what is tourism. Tourism means that my kids can take swim lessons. My kids can do extracurricular activities. Tourism means that my autistic son can get services that he needs, okay? It means that I can have a job and run a business where I am fortunate enough that my son who is homeschooled, okay, is able to come with me to work. I'm able to help him as I do my job. Okay, without tourism, without that influx of income, without the people coming in, this would not be a possibility. And like so many businesses here, without tourism, you're gonna have businesses closing. You're gonna have hotels that are closing because they don't have a reason to be here. You've lost major industry. You know, your police, I mean, good Lord, if I call the police because somebody stole from me, and it's no secret, I will post videos all day long of every single person that comes and shoplifts through my store. Because you know what, if I call the police, I get told, well, do you have the video for us? Do you have the video for us? And I have to pay my IT guy to download the video before they'll even come and talk to me. They don't have time, and I get it. There's more important things out there. You guys, we're in a crisis. The city is in a crisis. And it needs to get figured out, and it needs to get figured out really quick. This whole thing with what is tourism and whatnot, this is just one more thing on top of, and I really question, are we trying to kill this city? Because you have a lot of people who've shown up, and I know there's a lot of people online who are listening right now and who care, and they're listening and they're watching and they're getting involved because they care, okay? It's time that we get our shit together. And do what this city needs. You're here elected to work for your community. Do that, okay? Whatever side, you know, whatever, I hear so many rumors, and it's rumors, okay? Do your job, You wanna know what tourism is? Get out there and talk to people. Because in the time that I heard from that question, I haven't talked to one other business owner that's come and said that they've had somebody come ask them what tourism means to them. Not one.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate your public comment. We're gonna move on. Do we have anyone else in the room?
Hi. I just want to bring up one point. I am a mom here, and so what Halloween Town and the Great Nights means to me personally is doing something with my kids. Spending that time, it brings togetherness as a community. My neighbors, we all get together and we enjoy the activities. And even like family members of mine, I can always count on these days, you know, my house being the hub and everybody coming together. So aside from where money's going, I do support the police 100%, and I would not mind at all paying extra on any of my bills to support the police. But the thing that's most important to me is the togetherness that these events bring. And it would be really devastating for me if they were lost. I'd have to come up with something else. I'm just not good at that. So please don't get rid of them.
Hi, my name is Georgia Bergen, and I'm 16. As a student, part of St. Arnold High School, I'd just like to say that 13 Nights in the River means a lot to all of us, and every year people start talking about it as soon as it starts coming up, and so it's just really important to us as a community. I'd also like to stay in support of the police. I'm concerned with increased crime in the area. At the school, there's been more vandalism lately, and not just like scribbles on wall and the occasional broken mirror, but there's been vandalism to people's private property, specifically the bikes. And it's concerning because it's not just damage, they're unlatching the brakes and deflating tires. And I've asked the school to do something about it, but as of late, nothing's happened. And it started back in Thanksgiving. So I've also heard of the school, a lot of people at school are talking about stealing things, and there's just so much relaxed about it. They're not fearful of any sort of crime or punishment to that crime. And I think it's really important that we support the police.
That'll be one more. Oh, okay, we still got a couple.
Christina Waller here, originally came with the Scouts. But I sit here as a mom and a member of the community and an aspiring business owner who has no grounds to stand on because clearly look what this town does to businesses. I just want to say that I live in the heart of St. Helens during Halloween Town next to Cozy Corner. From the things I've seen from my own front porch, being summoned to court because of things I've seen, because of things my kids have seen, know the importance of the police. We need them when there is somebody sitting in my front yard threatening the safety of my family. We need them. During Halloween Town, many of my friends, I know a lot of people in this room who put on Halloween Town, help it go. My house is part of the 4th Street galore, the decorations, like no matter what I've seen, I know it's important. And I'm always excited for it to return. I'm always excited to be a part of it. No matter if my house is vandalized, no matter if my things are stolen, I still decorate. I still smile. I still talk to people. I've heard all the stories from the people coming. 13 nights, I'm down there with the Scouts, with my kids, with the next generation of people we're supposed to be supporting in this town. I have 2 older kids that I've adopted. One of them might not be able to move out because with the rising costs of everything, the lack of jobs, the lackluster of the town, we might not be able to move out. I don't know how you guys pay your bills, but some of these people work 2-3 jobs. 2-3 jobs. So we need every little bit of tourist events. We need every little bit of everything we can do to work together to make our town thrive financially. I just don't know why we aren't getting ahead of it instead of waiting to the very last deadline. I mean, procrastination at its finest. I don't do your guys' job. I would never do you guys' job. I wouldn't sign up for it, but I know that something between all of you guys together collectively, it should be easier. It should be written out better. Like, we should be able to do this together. I just don't understand why we can't. So as a mom, I hope for the best. I really do.
Adam Fink here. Yeah, I'm gonna say a lot of stuff a lot of people aren't gonna like. Thank you guys for being here. You have a tough job. I had different list of things I wanted to talk about, but I need to readdress something first. Mr. John Walsh, I'm 99% sure you leaked this email from Jen Massey because I just saw it on Steve's phone. And it had your name attached to the top of it. We will be putting in a FOIA request to see who asked for that information. And we hope we find it. Well, if not, that means that you did something. So anyway, back to my regularly scheduled statement. Councilor Chilton, you said you had no idea how other cities funded these police changeovers and stuff like that. Let's look at, Scappoose. They have more money than they have cops. St. Helens, we do not. That should tell you something about the agency we have here and how great they are. Nobody leaves this agency if they don't have to. We have an agency that people want to be at. Let's keep it that way. That being said, a 5-year, $15, sunsetted water bill fee would give us an opportunity to put 5 officers, put out the opportunity for 5 officers right now. That would show the public of police officers looking for a job that the city council supports them. We have 2 that are gonna retire. We know that. Apparently we have 3 now, so we're gonna be short 1. Let's put out for 5 and increase it by 2. Let's show the, agency that we're gonna support them. These are our first responders, that we heard. We need them there. Tourism, honestly, there's nothing I don't like about tourism. I like tourism. I personally am not a Halloween town. I like 13 nights. That's my thing. I stay away, but I understand what it means to the community. But what we also have to realize is there's a liability to the city. There's a lot of things legally wise that have to happen. Some of us have seen that old contract. We know that there's some things lacking. So that being said, the E2Cs, their COI said they have 0 employees. I've heard nothing but employee after employee after employee up here. There's a liability to them. Or do they,
indemnify the city when they say that they're a subcontractor. There's a liability. That is something that needs to be addressed.
Be quiet, sorry, be respectful.
You know, it's, audits. Everybody wants to talk about an audit. Employees versus non-employees, payroll taxes, all that other stuff. I'm pretty sure there's an agency called the IRS that does audits too that might want to hear some of these statements that we heard today. I heard there's 0 employees. I know there's payroll taxes that should be paid if there's actually employees here. We gave you guys 502 pages worth of documents that came from FOIAs. That's how we get our information. You guys have all seen them. There's a lot of unsubstantiated, accusations against the police chief and the department. We'd like to, make sure that you guys look at that. We take a lot of time putting together a timeline, putting that stuff together for you guys. Look at it. We understand you guys don't have a lot of time. A lot is asked of you guys. It's a daunting job. Nobody wants to be there. That being said, there's also a mention of, there's an understanding that we put in FOIA requests for everything. So a lot of stuff is happening over meetings, printing off of stuff. It was said by a particular contractor. That's kind of unfortunate, but what we had today was a cast of characters. We had everybody out there, saying, hey, we need a contract, we need a contract, we need a contract. That's great. Rumor has it also by our buddy back there that says she may not sign the contract. So why are we gonna postpone it 6 months until we can go through this whole charade again in 6 months? Give to the end of February, get it figured out and go one way or the other, but make a decision because we don't want this whole scenario going again. Thank you.
I'm a contractor. I'm not paid by the city and I'm not employed by Tina, but I work for Halloween Town. She's a contractor. She's a contractor.
Okay, my turn.
Me too.
Okay, sorry, let's go back. Good evening. Okay. Okay, say your name for the record, please.
Earlier today, you were presented with emails with details regarding the 2023 Halloween Town Parade. My address to council tonight is regarding the defamation of number 1, Chief Greenway. Number 2, the officers who worked the parade. And number 3, the St. Helens Police Department. I am sad and discouraged at what went on over the 2023 parade and the unforgettable events that followed. I have read emails, I have watched and rewatched October 18th special session here at council. I have watched interactions and had heated debates with some of the individuals involved. In my conclusion, our police chief and our officers were lied about, and our council allowed it to happen. Chief Greenway's job is to make sure our city and officers are safe to the best of his ability. When he brought the concerns about Halloween Town Parade to council in 2022, he was ignored and then removed from the permit entirely. You took out and circumvented the person who was trying to warn you of possible issues. 2023 parade, somehow we barely escaped some of the exact issues Chief Greenway had addressed about the parade permit in 2022. And this past parade, he was publicly defamed along with his officers. What are we doing? Whether or not you fully understand what happened at the time, you do now. I am asking publicly for council, mayor, and the city administrator to issue a written public apology for the misunderstanding of Chief Greenway, an apology to the officers who worked the parade and the St. Helens Police Department. In a time when so many are against the police, we can barely find men and women who want to do the job. This is incredibly shameful and disgraceful of our city and their employer. The city believes lies by disgruntled people and then created a divide in relationships. You actually touched on division earlier today. I respect each and every one of you up there, truly. You stepped into the position of public servant because you care about our city. I understand this is a hard position to be in, and at times it can be incredibly lonely and isolating. I want you to know that you are all very much appreciated, and this is not personal. The matter of fact is we must do what is right. Admit when we are wrong, and the people need to hear that Chief Greenway and his officers were correct in the parade permitting situations to clear the reputations of everyone involved. Those who chose to not be truthful, let the consequences fall on them. In my personal opinion, after reviewing the facts, it is my conclusion Miss Epperly allowed her frustrations with the parade that she was unable to manage and her own personal prejudice against the St. Helens Police Department, along with her friends who also have known prejudices against the St. Helens Police Department, cloud her judgment. She was communicating in email, so it appears she knowingly made public untrue accusations, possibly to distract from her inability to manage an event of this magnitude, while furthering to discredit the St. Helens Police Department. I am also asking Ms. Everly to publicly apologize to the council police firm. Thank you guys.
Okay, I know we have some people on Zoom, so is there anybody else really itching at coming up here? Okay, we're gonna move to Zoom. Okay.
Tina, you're up.
Not mute.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out this evening to support tourism and everything that happens to bring people into town. This is certainly not an individual's effort that makes this happen. It's an absolute community commitment. And I think that the commitment has been seen this evening and was maybe unexpected by some council members that have not really been privy to what has happened with tourism and what tourism has done in the past. They have probably gotten some insight from people that have agendas like everybody does. I have an agenda too. My agenda is to bring people to town and spend money with our businesses and give a great guest experience. Hospitality is an industry that is about pleasing people and doing whatever you can to make it happen. I also want to just say that I absolutely respect the police, and the 2 times that we have called them in the last 5 years, they immediately came and addressed the situation. One was an assault, another was a vehicular incident where someone was crossing a sidewalk and got nudged by a car. There wasn't any personal injury, but they were immediately on site. That was the promise that Chief Greenway made to me. He said, if you call me, we will be there immediately, but we will not have officers at your event. And I understand that there is a lot of responsibility with the police department when there's a lot of people around and just in the day-to-day work that they do. I also want to just point out that I understand why the police want money and, you know, that everybody wants to have events that are, you know, that they feel safe and protected in. And typically events such as ours, we would just hire event security. We would not depend on the police because they are, you know, you're asking on-duty officers to play the role of event security, which they are way overtrained for that position. So the 40 days that we have events in our town, we can absolutely hire security for that. It would be outside security, event security, professional security that work events. And we really haven't seen a need for that. But I'm willing to, you know, look at that and hope to make that happen. The other thing that I want to bring up is that I believe we should have a scheduled meeting calendar just for tourism, for people that have questions, that they can come anytime they want, so that council would have the dates of the next meeting. So if someone comes and asks you a question, you don't have to try to answer something that you really don't have the answer to. You can give them a date and say, this is the next meeting, or this is a phone number to call for, you know, for that question to get answered. I also think it's completely appropriate that if you have a complaint about an independent contractor or a contractor, and you hold the contract with that group or company, that you immediately let them know there's a problem. That is very, very common. It is, I've worked with literally hundreds of other contractors. If I have a complaint about them, I immediately am on the phone with them. So I think that is a misdirected attack on John Walsh. And it's a matter of him trying to correct a problem or an issue that's brought to his attention. That's completely appropriate as a city administrator. So I know it's very emotional, and I can tell people are very, passionate about this, which was fantastic, because it just makes tourism that much better in our town when we have so many members of the community that enjoy and support it. It's very difficult to watch what's going on here. It's nothing that I didn't expect, but I understand it, because when you mess with people's livelihoods, they will not sit still. They will not be quiet. And I've said this many times, and this is what we're seeing this evening, is just people are wanting to protect their lives and their children and their families and their homes. And who's going to criticize that? It won't be me, because tourism is fun. Thank you.
There's someone else on the list?
Diana Wiener.
Yes, hello. First, I want to thank all of you. I know you have full-time jobs and that you're only here as public servants, and I appreciate that, because people are asking you to give even more to the community when you're already giving a lot. So thank you, all of you counselors, for that. Two, I want to say that I personally love Halloween Town. I love it. It's a big part of why I moved here. I love tourism. I think it is fun, as Tina just said, and I think it is really important for our local economy. However, as someone who lives locally, I hear from locals all the time that they feel shut out of Halloween Town, and that it doesn't feel like it's for them. It's for people from out of town, and there are people who complain about it. And you're always going to have that in a tourism town. But I think one of the things that you're hearing tonight is that there is a lot of confusion and conflicting opinions because of conflicting or incomplete information. And one of the things that I think would help with that a tremendous amount is oversight. I know none of you have that kind of time. So the thing I would call on the city to do is to create a board of tourism, just like we have for planning, just like we have for the library, just like we have for parks, that could work with Tina or whoever the contractor is to ensure that there is transparency, that there is record keeping, that there is an appropriate amount of oversight. And that would also give locals an opportunity to engage and feel like they had some sort of say in tourism. I recognize that given how soon we need to start ramping up for some of the events, that this year may not be a year where we can make changes to the contract. And I agree with Brady, something I'm surprised to hear myself saying, that we do need to make a decision quickly. But if we decide to renew, we should do that with the aim of working on a new contract with clearer terms and more specifics for the next renewal. I just feel like part of the issue that gets lost in all of this is that there needs to be a place for people in the town to feel like they have a sense of ownership, and that it is not someone else coming in externally and shutting them out. And I think that that might resolve a lot of the misinformation and lack of clarity around the way tourism operates in St. Helens. Certainly when I talk to leaders in other Oregon cities, like our sister city up the river, Astoria, that's how theirs works. And I think it would behoove all of us to have some sort of oversight for tourism. That's it. Thank you.
Is there anyone else online? Okay. All right, we're gonna go ahead and go into our work that we need to approve today. So we're gonna start with the final reading of ordinance number 3298, an ordinance to amend the City of St. Helens comprehensive plan map for certain properties from light industrial LI designation to the general residential GR designation, and the zoning district map from light industrial LI zone to the general residential R5 zone at 474 North 12th Street. We'll need a motion to approve that.
A motion to approve.
We have a second? Okay. Any discussion? Okay, so we'll call for a vote. Counselor Sundin? Counselor Gunderson?
Aye.
Counselor Hubbard? And I'm an aye as well. Approve and authorize for signature. We're gonna start with item 2, personal service agreement with Econ Northwest for development of an economic opportunities analysis, EOA.
Can you explain that one a little bit?
Sure. This is a state grant funded economic opportunities analysis that goes through and updates. And it's actually a really good time to do it with the closure of Cascades and kind of looking at your economy, what you want to attract, business needs, that kind of thing. A third-party contractor that'll lead us through this effort, public engagement. Points going on as well. Just time.
No cost to the city.
On a motion to approve that? Nope, we're separating them.
I'll make a motion to approve line item number 2.
We discussed it, so, Counselor Sundin or Counselor Anderson, Counselor Hubbard, and I'm an aye as well. And then item number 3, extension of agreement with Tiberius Solutions LLC for the St. Helens Urban Renewal Financial Update. Did we have some discussion on this? Or?
City.
City?
That exactly. From here, it is, we talked about this in previous meetings about updating our financial projections for the urban renewal agency and cash flow for the funding of the projects. Yeah, get you the numbers you want.
Extension, right? It's gone.
Oh, shit, wait. Have the answers.
So do you want us to table that? Or?
Well, we have that, it's an extension, so if they haven't come up with it yet, it's extension.
It's a little bit more work. It's a little bit more work than the past budget.
That's not.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve it?
It's not till the next meeting.
Sure.
Item number 4, display agreement and purchase order with Western Display Fireworks for the 4th of July fireworks display.
I'll make a motion to approve line item 4, display agreement with the purchase order with Western Display Fireworks for the 4th of July fireworks.
Second.
Any discussion there? Looking over it, looks pretty straightforward. Pretty much the same as we did last year. Okay, we'll call it to a vote. Counselor Sundin?
Aye.
Counselor Gunderson?
Aye.
Counselor Hubbard? And I'm an aye as well. Item number 5, extension of letter interest with American Hyper Solar LLC for purchase of real property.
Motion to approve the extension of line item 5, extension of letter of interest with American Hyperion Solar LLC for purchase of real property.
Second. Did you want to discuss it?
Is we into a purchase program?
We haven't got that far. We're working on a lease agreement.
Okay, well, purchase, we have to change that then, if it's just an agreement to look at it.
Correct, letter of intent on. It does say purchase, but in the language of the agreement, let's say purchase on lease.
We approved it with amended verbiage.
Still March, correct?
That's to March, yes.
Motion? Oh, wait, we're second, huh? Okay. We'll call to, oh, I'm coming, Counselor Gunderson, Counselor Hubbard, and I'm an aye as well. Consent agenda for acceptance, item 6, planning commission minutes dated December 12th, 2023.
Consent agenda item 6. I'll second.
Any discussion, so we'll call it to vote. Counselor Sunny? Aye. Counselor, Henderson?
Aye.
Counselor Harvard? And then I as well. Okay, consent agenda for approval, item 7, department goals for fiscal year 2024 through 2025. Items 8, council minutes dated December 6, 2023. Item 9, OLCC licenses. Item 10, animal facility licenses. Item 11, accounts payable bill lists.
I make a motion to consent agenda for approval, line item 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Second that.
Any discussion there?
I have questions on 7, but they're pretty lengthy, so.
You feel more comfortable reaching out to John? Counselor Cindy?
Aye.
Counselor Henderson?
Aye.
Counselor Harvard? And I as well. So then we have some work session action items that we're keeping up. First.
So this is the suggested motion from earlier, which is to extend E2C contract for events management. Currently set up to approve an extension of 6 months. Discuss that first or? Close it first.
Well, I think it's without a doubt that, we're all hopeful that it's not gonna take that long. And it's definitely a priority to get it out there. I think that it's fair to do due diligence when new counselors come on to be able to look into things. And I said that earlier in the work session too, and that's just still my feelings about it. So I see no harm in it. We have every intention of continuing the contract and continuing our events. I don't know where that misconception came from. It's never something that we planned on doing. So it's really unfortunate that that was portrayed that way, but I mean, I don't have anything else to say about it. I'm trying to continue with the contract and changing it and continuing with tourism as we've been doing it, so.
I want to see Tina get under contract. We do have another contract that we're proposing, but I think we'll be a little more transparent and then hopefully she will sign that. With that being said, I do not want Halloween Town, 13 nights, any of those other events that she's done such a great job planning to go with. So let's get her on board. Let's get this all worked out. I'm confident we can get this worked out with the other contract. Excuse me. I move to approve an extension of the E2C contract for events management for 6 months until the new contract is fully executed. I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded, so we'll go ahead and call it to a vote. Counselor Sundy.
Aye.
Counselor Gunderson. Counselor Hubbard. And I'm an aye as well. Okay. Did we want to talk about the police and some of the concerns there?
Well, what we talked about early in the work session was moving forward to recruit 2 officers, address the gap of retirements or.
Where will that funding come from?
They will be closer. We do have some money from the plea this year. there is some money from the rate that going to. Last year in the budget committee, we talked about this. About the gap between the full rate and the interest payments. I don't make too complicated here, but when the interest payment went to a full principal and interest payment, yeah, funding right there to get some funding. And do something to get police, at least in the pipeline to get full.
So that would fund two for now, and then we would, I know we had talked, Gloria came to us, with a plan that, could, up the public safety fee, that we've been charging to increase the police officers over time, a kind of a titrate to get us up to where the police, want us to be to safely staff our city. I don't know if we have really come to a full agreement on what to do.
Any kind of a rate increase would be a announcement, there's no hearings involved and things of that nature. It's a different discussion, but it's still definitely part of the discussion you had to make.
This opens up two positions now.
We're soon trying to recruit.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Gotta put the ad out.
But the ad.
Get the ads out.
Gotta get out there.
Process, it takes several months.
Well, and I have no problem with looking into a levy. I know, you know, before I got on council, it was something that they had looked into that they advised us did not look good. It's very expensive and takes a long time. But I'm fine with looking into a levy. I think, probably not the best time for a levy. It's not the best time for any type of extra money to be spent anywhere. It's not gonna feel good to anybody's pocketbooks, but, I'm very concerned. I don't wanna lose 24-hour policing. I value our police, and so I'm open to ideas. If anybody's got any creative ideas, we're open to it. We're all trying to problem solve and come to an agreement. And, we're running out of time. We're running out of time to figure it out.
The water bill. I think it's abuse when you start adding that on the water. It's just like the less AC access to some cash. They have to pay it.
You speak up.
I think John needs to scrape the barrel. Let's get that taken care of, and then that'll get immediate. Some money there, get it going. And it's a levy. I can have it in May. 2 years. 2 years.
Or past the time to be able to go on the May.
Pass the time.
Come to be the November ballot.
All right, well, I would feel more comfortable continuing that conversation with the mayor back. I think we need his voice here too, and, we heard a lot from our different departments today, and we've absorbed a lot right now. So we need to just kind of go back to the drawing board and figure out what we're gonna do. But I go to sleep every night wondering when we're gonna lose police and not have 24-hour coverage. So I don't want the police to feel like we're not listening and we don't hear them. We're just trying to figure out what to do, what's best for the whole city. And public safety is number one to me. It's the most important thing, the governmental thing that we can provide to our citizens. And so I hear them. I do. I just want you guys to know that we do. Hear you.
So do we need a motion for that?
Doesn't sound like it.
Okay, well,
For the two positions, we don't need to do anything.
You need to direct staff to,
Right. Yes, direct staff to do that immediately, please. Okay.
next topic, if you wanted to remove is at item number 2, I have a better explanation now. It's not a financial impact, it's a time limit on the, we couldn't run out of money, we ran out of time when the contract expires in February 1st, since it's an extension to that contractor their pocket available to do reviews.
Okay, I'm just questioning when we spend money on it to make sure it's.
There's a cap. Financial cap on the contract, this is just a time extension.
right, anything else, John?
Just if you wanted to reconsider that. Agenda item.
Are you comfortable with that?
Number 3.
Somebody said I agree with
With it? Okay, yeah, let's check it off the list then. So approve and authorize for signature. Number 2, personal service. Oh wait, it was number 3. Wasn't it? February.
3 was one we tabled.
It was February, so. So we'll come back to it. After you can.
No, it's good.
Oh, that was the explanation for that. Okay. Item number 3, extension of agreement with Tiberius Solutions LLC for the St. Helens Urban Renewal Financial Update.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion's been, made and approved or seconded. Counselor Sunny? Counselor Gunderson? Counselor Herbert? And I am an aye as well. Okay, so we'll jump into our reports. I know it's been a really long night. So, Counselor Sunny?
I just want to thank all of you for showing up, being here. Following a lot of comments online and seeing all this social media chatter and people are threatening to come to city council. I wish that we had this kind of crowd every time. You'll see social media posts where it'll get 200 responses. And I think, man, we're gonna have a crowd tonight. When we get maybe 2 people. All the people that were talking about 13 nights, we're gonna email our city councilors. I got 1 email. So please get involved, show up, come down here. I don't have all the answers. I don't think these guys probably have all the answers either. We need your help. We can't do this alone. So tourism, I hate to see that it turned into this. I never had any intention for our tourism program to go away, for our events to end, for Tina to go away. I have a great working relationship with Tina. I enjoy Tina. I think she's had a great program. Elaine, Teresa, she talked me into buying a Halloween Town medallion this year, and my kids conned me into buying a few other things in the store. Janet, I've seen in the haunted house. Steve, there's Steve. Steve is Mr. Halloween Town all over town. Christina, I've been in your store. Pumpkin Queen, I see you all the time. Stephanie, I see you dancing with the witches. I love Halloween Town. I'm down here. I bring my kids down here. I enjoy it. I'm here for 13 nights. I'm here for the 4th of July, Christmas ships. I grew up here. This is my town. I love tourism. I support it. There were a few things that needed tweaked, and that was the goal, was to make it better for everybody, to make it better for our contractor, to make it better for the city, to make it better for our community, so that we don't have to go through this every year. And I hope that that's what we're doing. I hope we're getting closer and we're making progress. So I apologize for all of the hurt and the emotions that's produced, but that was never the intention. But I do thank you for being here and for showing up and voicing your opinion, because we need help. We need to know what you're thinking. If we don't hear it, all we can do is guess. So thank you for being here. What else? I haven't slept the last 3 nights, so I'm a little tired. I just, again, want to thank everybody for being involved. This is all of our community. We have city boards you can volunteer on. We have commissions. We have lots of ways for people to get involved. Volunteer in our parks. That's what got me started in this whole mess. I got started on the Parks Commission, and I thought, oh, maybe I'll run for city council. That'll be fun. Good idea, huh? Thank you. I'm trying, and I know all of us are trying. We're trying our best. So it's a lot of work. It's harder than it looks. And I know people have said it's intimidating coming up here in these chairs and talking to us. This is intimidating. I'll tell you what, this is intimidating. And I just want to reiterate what I said earlier about our city. That it takes lots of people. It takes lots of departments to run this city. You can't say one department is more important than the other, because they all have different functions. They all have different purposes. It's like saying my eyes are more important than my ears, or my arms are more important than my legs. There might be one time when you need one and you don't need the other, but you'd kind of like to have them all. So that's what we're trying to do, is to keep this place running, to keep it afloat. And as you can see, that's not an easy thing to do. And it's discouraging sometimes to read that we've got these city councilors lining their pockets, and they're self-serving. I can promise you my pockets aren't lined. We're just trying to do our best. And to be honest, I don't know. You would have told me what this was going to be like a year ago. I don't know if I would have signed up for this, but I'm thankful for the opportunity to serve. I'm available. If you ever want to talk, try to answer every email. I try to answer phone calls. Glad to meet for lunch and just talk, share your concerns. So please don't threaten. I'm gonna show up to city council because I wish that you would. So, somebody threatened there might need bodyguards when we all show up down there. Glad we didn't need bodyguards tonight, but just show up, please be involved. So, thank you.
Can't follow that.
No, no, I'm gonna go last.
Yeah, I'll kind of piggyback on what Councilor Sundin said. I got into this to help and I thought I could do a good job. It is hard to sit up here and make everybody happy. I know I can't. I know we can't. It doesn't matter what we do. Somebody's not going to be happy about it. But if we can all kind of come to a middle ground where there's going to be some give and take, and it's not going to be perfect, but that's going to be the best we're going to be able to do, especially given the financial situation that we're in right now, which I hope it will turn in short order. But it is tough being up here, and I don't, like Brandon said, I don't claim to have all the answers. I never have. I welcome opinions, help, as long as it's not attacking. But yeah, I want to hear what people have to say, and I want to do the best that I can for the city, because I raised my kids here. I live here, I work here. I've enjoyed the benefits of being a resident of this city. And I want my kids, if they want to live here, to have the same benefits. And I want to make sure moving forward that we have, staff, police, and all the departments, like you said. They're all important in one way or the other, all different. But Brandon, you said it much more eloquently than I am. I'm just kind of babbling because I'm a little tired. But that's all I've got. Thank you.
Well, I took this position on because I thought I could ask questions and help the city. And I can see tonight that social media has grabbed hold of you and said things that are true. And I were working on that, and I'm the one that gets the hate. And so, you can have it your way, and you got it. So I can think about resigning because tonight's been just. I'm sure that would make everybody happy.
No.
You got him sick in there, baby. Okay. What? You're the one that went on social media and told that it was me that was the reason that Halloween Town and 13 Nights on the River was not gonna go on. It was me.
Let's talk that, Russ. Let's talk. You killed our program, Russ.
I did not kill it.
Jennifer Massey had a secret meeting with you. She was the one and said, do kill our contract, don't extend it. Then she comes here and says, we want to keep it all quiet. Will you shut a program down that all these people?
All right. This is not what this is for. You guys can have a conversation outside of the council chambers.
So you know what? You should understand what you're doing before you do it. You met with somebody.
Steve.
Checking out, 9:13.
We just be clear that it was never gonna go anywhere?
Yeah, it was never.
You guys haven't said that it wasn't going anywhere.
Okay, can I please have the floor back? I'm going to at least say my message and then we'll close up the meeting and then you guys can have whatever conversations that you're dying to have. The city of St. Helens is facing monumental challenges. Many of you listening are listening because of those challenges, and many of you are listening because you want to see what we're going to do about it. I'm calling on you. I'm calling on my team. These guys sitting up here are my team. These staff members around me are my team, but we often forget that you all are our team also. I'm calling on all of us. In times of difficulty, great teams come together. I know there are concerns, frustrations, and deep feelings coming from every corner, but I truly believe we can get through it. I think it starts with trust, hard work, and it ends with accountability. I'm here to do the work because I want to leave this team better than when I joined it. And that has been my game plan this whole time. I'm dedicated to this city and I want to make it strong and sustainable for my kids and yours. So I'm asking you all again to come together. Let's set our differences aside and do what's best for our community. Thank you.